Hello, everybody. It is the American Doofus Show. I'm your host, Barry Welsh. Don't be a doofus. A lot to get to today. Got a phone call right before I began recording, shortly before I began recording, letting me know we did an episode on Travis Nagdy. Travis was one of the leaders of the Breonna Taylor justice protests or injustice protests, and was killed in a carjacking. And his killer has been arrested. He was arrested earlier this afternoon. Ashton Nally is that person's name. He's been charged on federal carjacking charges, not on murder charges at the moment, despite being responsible for the death of Travis Nagdy. So we'll follow that to see about justice for Travis. In the same phone call, I was informed Chris Smith was killed Friday. Chris is another leader of the anti police aggression, of the justice for Breonna Taylor, of the multifaceted protests that have been happening and continue to happen in Louisville, Kentucky. There's never been a riot. There's never been a fire. There's never been buildings destroyed. There were a couple of nights of some pretty serious looting and what you could probably call rioting the first two nights, some 200 days ago. And since then, 98% of the protests in Louisville have been peaceful, despite what you hear and despite what social media might say. Chris was 42 years old. Like Travis, he was killed in his car. His car was not carjacked. This is an apparent murder. That's all the information I have at the moment. But losing protest leaders in Louisville. Last night I send out a formal video invitation to Grandmaster Jay to record an interview with me for the show. And I've had some people ask, why are you doing that? You kissing him. And I'm not kissing anybody's ass. I'm doing it because it's newsworthy. I'm doing it because it would be a significant part of the series as far as coverage of the NFAC and Grandmaster Jay himself. And the offer is because there's never been a 60 minutes style interview with Grandmaster Jay, if you will. There's never been an extended interview talking about different various things. There have been 3 or 4 minute interviews here and there, many times, comparing the black militia with the white militia, or, these are militias and one of them's all black. And, there hasn't been an in-depth interview with Grandmaster Jay. It's, like I said, a 60-minute style interview. And I sent the invitation because it's about the story, his story, history. He doesn't like the word history because it's his, but this is his story. And in my opinion, as I've said from the very start, it's historic. Most interviews are, how great Grandmaster Jay is. And this would not be a confrontational interview if it were to happen or anything like that, but it's not going to be, I'm going to ask real questions. It's not going to be fanboy. I'm going to ask real questions because I'm a journalist. And I think it's important if he comes on the show. I think it would be important because a lot of the viewers, a lot of you support what he's trying to do. even if you don't support him individually, what he's trying to do has caught your attention, and something you want to see continue to happen. So I think it might. Um, I know it would be part of uh, a significant part because of the circumstances surrounding it, and a significant part of the story. And I wouldn't just ask him about, I mean, I think we've got a pretty good idea after everything we've heard already from other interviews of what happened to him that morning when he was arrested, all the way up to being let go, basically. Pardon me. So I want to talk. Not only NFAC, and not only allow him to talk about what has happened to him, what is currently happening to him, but I also want to talk music. I want to talk some spirituality. I want to talk humanity. I want to have an extended interview, like I said, 60-minute style. So that's why I sent the invitation out there, and now we can get on with the show. Today, the Electoral College was convened in each and every state, and in I think all but one case in the state capital. And what the Electoral College does is formalize the vote of the people, otherwise known as the popular vote. Popular vote takes place, as in this year, November 4th was the day. It's the second Tuesday, generally, of November. And there's a reason for the distance between November 4th and today, and today and what happens to come. November 4th, the people voted. It took a long time to count. There were several challenges. There were legal challenges, all of which were thrown out. There was intimidation. There were death threats. There were so many things to try to turn this election over. And that is not over yet. Despite what the impression you may get from mainstream media, it is not over yet. The reason for the time lags is because when these mechanisms were set into place, it was during a time when there weren't any phones. There wasn't hardly telegraph. You had to physically transport information, and from West Coast to East Coast took about a month. So they gave just a little more than a month from election day to the day the Electoral College was to convene and everyone was to vote on the president. And so we still follow those traditions of that time. The next tradition is we wait until January 6th now that we know the Electoral College vote. We wait until the 6th of January, and a joint committee of Congress approves that vote. The vice president announces the results, and the joint committee approves the vote. That's what's always happened. That's what happened when Joe Biden handed over power to Donald Trump by doing the exact same thing, announcing the results of the Electoral College vote for approval by Congress. Now that can be disputed, but as things stand now, that would be just a delaying tactic, because Congress is not going to vote to uphold overturning the democracy. I mean, it's just not going to happen. Now, one of the biggest rats jumped ship today as well, right after the results were finalized on the Electoral College. Attorney General Barr resigned. And the first thing I thought was, well, now that they know they can't do it through the Electoral College, what's next? And whatever's next is not legal. And Barr wants absolutely no part of it. And he's getting off the boat right now. He's one of the biggest rats to jump ship. It'll be interesting to see how many more jump ship over the next few days as legally and as principled and as democracy dictates, the handwriting is on the wall. Now, if you're going to do it, you're going to be borderline, if not jumping over the border of treason, if you keep pushing an agenda that is against the will of the people and has justly been determined. Okay, so why did Barr leave today? As I said, I think he jumped ship because he realizes something could be coming, because you're not going to see Donald Trump send out a tweet saying, I concede, or I wish the new president well. You're not. It's not. He's too tiny of a person. He's too tiny of a person to ever do anything like that. That's why I still think he resigns. He's going to resign instead of going through the pomp and circumstances of formally handing over power. He's going to resign. Pence is going to pardon him and everybody underneath him, and go down in history as the biggest schmuck in the world. Yeah, schmuck's bigger than a doofus, for those that are going to be asking. We hit 300,000 deaths today from COVID-19. That's basically the entire population of Cincinnati, Ohio dying. On top of our normal death rate, on top of all the killings that go on, 300,000 additional. Moms, dads, brothers, sisters, cousins, lovers, daughters, sons, nieces, nephews, aunts, childhood friends. Do I blame Trump? Yes. Do I blame Mike Pence? Yes. Vaccines are in shipment. What does that mean? Well, hospital workers, long-term care facility workers, first responders, essential workers will all get vaccines first. It's going to start distribution in mass on the 16th here in Indiana. There will be 2 doses required. The first dose will be given, and then you'll wait 21 to 28 days to get the second dose. So you and I, well, at least me, people that aren't prioritized, regular people, okay? So it's, I shouldn't assume that's you, but I will tell you it's me. It's going to be months before we get access to even make a choice as to whether we want the vaccine or not. So don't get all bent out of shape over conspiracy theories over the vaccine. And because you've got a lot of time to research it, a lot of time to study it before you ever have to make the choice, more than likely. You might not. You might be one of those essential workers, and in the next 2 to 3 weeks, you're going to have your first dose of the vaccine, and it's well over 90% effective. So more than likely, having the vaccine is probably going to be a great thing, because you're going to have a lot more freedom than than a lot of other people will, because the higher the spike goes, the more restricted, the less freedoms we are going to have just for our own goods. As far as wearing a mask, washing your hands, you know, let's keep doing those things, and social distancing, and not gathering in large numbers, and all the common sense stuff, so that we can continue to go outside our houses. Okay. I hope we can all agree on that much at least. Now, the vaccine, microchip in the vaccine. I've heard it. I've heard it multiple times. I've been asked about it multiple times, and it's not, it's not a dumb question. It's a massive conspiracy theory, and I'm going to tell you why. Before it was barcodes, okay? Barcodes, when barcodes came out, barcodes were the mark of the beast. They were the sign of the devil. This comes from the evangelical communities, from repeated untruths. And those truths keep getting repeated. And now it is the microchip conspiracy from the evangelical community. The first time the microchip, the last time the microchip conspiracy came up is when a series of books came out called the Left Behind series. And really, really well-written books, good stories. And, but that series sparked the idea that everyone was going to have to take a microchip, and that was going to be the mark of the beast. And that has kind of been rebranded or molded into now the vaccine's going to contain a microchip so the government can track you, or so you can be identified as someone with the mark of the beast, which is someone who has given themselves to the devil instead of Jesus in the end times. That's a short, condensed version. Now, let's think about it just for a moment. You're going to get the vaccine, okay? Let's just go through the process, because the process is going to show you, all right? You're going to get the vaccine. The nurse takes the vial with multi-doses of the vaccine, puts the syringe in, takes the vaccine out, injects it into you, discards the syringe, puts a Band-Aid on you, gives you a sucker, and you go on your way. The next person comes in, sits down. The nurse takes the multi-dose vial, puts the syringe in, takes the dose out, injects the person, puts a Band-Aid on them, gives them a sucker, out they go. Just by process, you cannot control, if you're going to put a microchip in somebody, you cannot control what microchip goes in who if they're all in a multi-dose vial. And that's how this vaccine is going to be distributed. Okay. So hopefully that puts that conspiracy to rest. Now, how the government would do it, I'm not saying they wouldn't do it. I'm not going to say that. How they would do it, they would do it patriotically. All right. We've got to put this chip into every actual American citizen so that we can tell the real Americans from those of trying to infiltrate our country and take it over that aren't real Americans. All right. A lot of people are going to buy that. That's how they would do it. They would tell you they're going to do it to you, and this is why, and here it all comes. Here comes all the, oh my gosh, you better take this chip or else you're, communist grape sucking pig. And that's how the government would do it. All right. And as far as the vaccine, I'm not totally on board. Okay. I'm not. It happened so very fast. Now, I've been told that the reason it happened so fast is because they used a lot of the same research they used in previous pandemics and just expanded on that. Well, that's okay if all that research was good, but what if there are so many variances between COVID and whatever the previous research was that you're way off? I mean, it's a possibility. Or what kind of side effects is this going to have? I've already had somebody tell me, oh, I heard that you get Bell's palsy for a while once you get the vaccine. And that's totally not proven, not truth. It's just, oh, I heard. Well, who'd you hear it from? Oh, I heard it from somebody. Who'd they hear it from? Well, they heard it from somebody on the internet. And that's how crap gets spread around. So don't be a doofus. Don't spread crap around. All right. President Joe Biden, President-elect Joe Biden, spoke to the public tonight for the first time after the Electoral College votes were cast. And he didn't give me a lot of confidence as far as, gosh, I have a great feeling about where our country's heading. He spoke common sense. I know I wasn't the audience. The audience was the Trump supporters, because brick by brick, stick by stick, he took down everything that the current resident of the White House has been trying to get something to stick. Now, the one thing that has stuck is the conspiracy theories, is the ideas still that something's wrong with the election, that the election was stolen, when the whole time the person was trying to steal the election and get you to support him doing it. And you can't see that. I hope you can. I hope sometime in the future you can, if you can't see it right now. That's what happened. That's what's still happening, because this isn't over, okay? Even on January 6th, potentially it's not over. Because if you go back and look at the last episode, a lot of people, a lot of armed people are ready to go to war to keep the current resident of the White House there for 4 more years. And it probably wouldn't be 4 more days if they actually attempt to do it. But until proven otherwise, we've got to take it seriously, in my opinion. Okay. So hope you have an absolutely fabulous night. And if you would, say a little prayer for the family of Travis Nagy and Chris Smith and Casey Godson Jr. in Columbus, Ohio. We're going to keep tracking that case as well. And if you happen to be from Columbus, Ohio, if you happen to be a resident of Columbus, Ohio watching this, send me an email. I need somebody in Columbus. I need boots on the ground, so to speak, to keep me updated on what's going on there, if you'd be so kind to do so. So if you want to contact me, americandoofus@gmail.com. Grandmaster Jay, you happen to be watching this, americandoofus@gmail.com, or you can figure out how to get a hold of my phone number through connections, I'm sure. And I sincerely would like to record an interview with you. Again, there's not going to be any live audience, just you and me sitting down having a conversation. And I think a lot of people would like to see that. So until next time, it is the American Doofus Show. We do the alternative news here, things that other people aren't talking about or things that they aren't fully talking about. Sometimes you get a little tiny glimpse in mainstream media. We try to give you a little bigger picture. And I thank each and every one of you for watching. If you're not a subscriber, please consider doing so. Consider sharing this to help the channel grow and liking it. And until next time, it's the American Doofus Show. Don't be a doofus.